What is up, you guys? It's your boy Shady Luke back with another video. And today, man, on this video, we're going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks and just doing a kind of overall review on what I think about the Seahawks and just kind of, what they got going on there. Man, let me tell you what, when Seattle hired Mike Macdonald from Baltimore, I was pretty excited. Just even from their time when Pete Carroll was the head coach, they've been like a defensive-led team and they like to run the football. And Baltimore kind of likes to do the similar type of thing. So you have Mike Macdonald in there. And, with Geno this last year, there were times when the offense was solid, but there are also times when it just looked like a mess. And you had Mike as his first year coaching them. And, it was just really hard basically to figure out what was going on with Seattle. Very, very interesting team, in my opinion. But I really liked. There's just some players on Seattle that I really like. And just them getting a defensive coach, I was like, dude, it fits their identity, especially in the NFC West. Especially, you have the LA Rams and you have the freaking Arizona Cardinals and you got the San Francisco 49ers. This division has the potential to be one of the best, in my opinion. You just got a lot of heavy hitters, and you don't really know how it's exactly going to play out for those teams, because the ceiling is high for a lot of these teams in the NFC West. We just don't know how it's going to play out. You know what I mean? But with Seattle, I really, really like what they did, especially with going out and getting Sam Darnold. I mean, if we look at things, we viewed Sam Darnold as a bust. Everybody viewed Sam Darnold as a bust, right? But for him to just kind of have that revival as a quarterback, I mean, Seattle just had it with Geno, and now they're having it with Sam Darnold. But I gotta say, Sam Darnold looked damn good. Like, he looked really good, dude. Like, how many touchdowns did he have this last year? Let's just look, because I remember watching games and I was like, bro, this dude straight up is having going from bust to no, he's still good. He just needed the right coaching. That's all that mattered. And dude, let's see how many he had, because he kind of went crazy this last year. 4,319 yards, 66.2 completion, 7.9 yards per average, 35 touchdowns. You cross that 30 touchdown mark, I'm going to say you're kind of in another stratosphere compared to the other quarterbacks, in my opinion, for that season. Then he had 12 interceptions. Now, I mean, things didn't always look good with Minnesota. We saw how things kind of sputtered for them in the playoffs, and the offense didn't look good. Sam kind of reverted back to some of his old stuff, and people were like, oh, that's a Sam Darnold we know. But, there's also discussion KOC's kind of had issues in the playoffs. You could use that argument. But yeah, Sam didn't really end the season on a high note, but he showed that he is still a really good quarterback, and he's young, and this could just be the beginning for Sam Darnold. He could have a Baker type thing going to Seattle, where he's found a home and they just want to keep him there. And I really hope for that for Sam Darnold, because he's seen some shit, you know what I mean? So going from San Fran to Minnesota, getting coached up by KOC, and now he's with Seattle. And we'll see how it goes there. Because if I remember right, Seattle's new offensive coordinator is a Kubiak. If I remember right. Yeah, Clint Kubiak. And you know how it is with these names in the NFL. I mean, he carries the Kubiak name, so people are going to be like, well, what are we getting? You know what I mean? Are we getting a potential offensive, mastermind? Maybe. We just got to see how it plays out. And, if Clint ends up being just solid, for Sam, well, Seattle fans, guess what? You may have just found your starter for the next 7 to 10 years, especially if things work out with Mike Macdonald. I don't know. OCs, they shuffle. If they're good, they get head coaching position and all that. But, hey, As long as Sam Darnold is building off of the season he just had, that's all that's really going to matter for your fan base and your team going forward, even if a coach were to leave. So Clint being hired there is really exciting. There's a lot of people that are talking about it. I don't know much about Clint Kubiak. Honestly, all I know is the Kubiak name and what it carries. So you have that going for you, especially with a defensive coach like Mike to bring in somebody who's hopefully super knowledgeable. Just to like link up with Sam Darnold to get this offense clicking. We saw them get rid of DK. DK's gone. They got Jackson. I really like Seattle's running backs, and I think that they can make this into something beautiful. You know what I mean? Running back by committee. With Charbonnet, and then you got why am I forgetting? Kenneth Walker. You got Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and I feel like you could have this beautiful running back by committee and just run the hell out of the football. I think you could run the ball better with Sam Darnold and put him on a better trajectory than Minnesota did it, because Minnesota, I'd watch games and they would, you know what I mean? KFC doesn't get away from the run, but he kind of seemed like he did at times. And it seemed like Sam was throwing at a super high volume. So, you get Zach Charbonnet, you get Kenneth Walker going, get the run game going. You could really make this offense click. You really could. Especially with bringing over Cooper Kupp. I know Cooper Kupp is on the back end of his career, but sometimes you get these wide receivers in their 30s, you can still get something out of them. I don't know. I'm not the most excited for Cooper Kupp going over there, but I still think there's some juice. And, they brought in Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Really like that. They have a couple good offensive linemen. Their offensive line needs work, and we kind of saw that they drafted offensive linemen. Some teams know that they have that weakness in the trenches and they ignore it, but they went out and got some guys. So you got that, and then this is where I really get super excited about San Fran, NFC West. This is where I really get excited about Seattle. I think that their defensive backfield, bro. So we saw how my Birds went out with Quinyon Mitchell and freaking Cooper DeJean, and just some of these other younger guys. And I really think, I really do, like Dylan Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen. I know Tariq Woolen kind of had a down season, but I still think there's something there, dude. I don't care what people say. I don't move off of this shit 1 year, 2 year. Dude, with corners, they're not always consistent. As long as you have a solid starting corner who's not bad, they got to be better than bad, but you know what I mean. And I feel like Tariq, he's still young, and I still see something there between him and Witherspoon. I'm like, okay. Like I really like what Seattle has in their defensive backfield. And then you got Julian Love, you got Kobe Bryant. Two good safeties. You got all those young guys right there in that defensive backfield, and you got something to build off of. Their linebackers, not the biggest fan. If we look at Seattle's defense and yards per rushing per game, they really weren't the best. They were 16th, giving up like an average of 120 rushing yards per game. But I feel like it was more there. I could be wrong, man. I need to do some more film study, but I feel like it was more of their linebacker play as opposed to their interior defensive line. Just in my opinion. We also saw them beef up their defensive line in the inside, but I don't know. Just from the games I watched, I didn't see anything that really popped off film for me from the defensive play. And when you got Leonard Williams back there, Leonard Williams is still playing pretty freaking good for the year that he's in, dude. And Jerron Reed was also pretty good. But there was something going on there with the defensive line and the linebackers as a front seven. They just really weren't the best at stopping the run. But on the back end of the season, this defense got better. You saw them improve as the season went by. And I feel like it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? You have a new coach and the players get some familiarity and things get better. But Yeah, with Seattle, them having some type of like just some juice in the pass rush could go a long way. It could really go a long way. I do like their defense. I do. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the linebacker play. And I could be wrong, other people could be on it, but just from what I saw from Seattle, I wasn't the biggest fan. I was like, you guys could get somebody in there. Somebody. And I mean, on that defensive line, they also brought in Demarcus Lawrence. Demarcus Lawrence, man, people can say what they want. He's a good player. Like, he's a good edge player. And it's a good addition for them. Honestly, man, it really is. You look at Seattle's draft, man. They, I like their draft, to be honest. They went tackle first round. Then they went safety with Nick. Then they went tight end. Jalen Milroe is the guy that really got me pumped for their draft. And if you look at his draft grade on PFF, depends if you go on NFL or PFF. PFF, it was just average. I'm like, nah, this could be interesting, right? Because I think that Sam could maybe have a home, but I'm like, but you also got Jalen Milroe right here, and you can read it however you want. Jalen Milroe he's a bit inconsistent in college as a passer, but if there's one thing we know in today's NFL is if you have a quarterback who's young with some athleticism, he stands a chance. Like, these offensive coordinators can cook some shit for these guys, especially for them to run. You know what I mean? He doesn't even have to run all the time. I feel like with running quarterbacks, people who are more runners, the athleticism in them kind of aids to them kind of going through it in passing. And who knows? You see Jalen Milroe sit a little bit. Maybe he's a starter one day. Maybe he's a starter. Maybe Sam Darnold's not a starter. Maybe Sam Darnold's not a starter, but it's just something that we're just going to need to see. And then in their draft, man, it was interesting. I mean, they went defensive inside for a little bit, but dude, they drafted 3 tackles. 3 tackles. Mike came from freaking Baltimore. They ground and pound. You know what I mean? They run the ball. He knows the importance of offensive line. And dude, if you just need to protect these edges, if Sam Darnold has time to the point where he's at in his career and what he just went through these past 2 years being in San Fran with Shanahan and being with KOC, 2 really good, smart offensive minds, it may be clicking for him just now with protection. But if he doesn't have protection, all that's out the window, bro. All of it's out the window. In Seattle, you know, they're in the NFC West. Like I said earlier, the NFC West could easily be one of the best divisions in football this year. There's some people that think they're just, hey, if Kyler Murray can just be a little bit consistent, they could surprise some teams. They could maybe even be a sleeper to get into the playoffs. Then you have the Rams, who was first in their division. They just played my Birds in the NFC conference game. Who expected that? Who expected it? Some people were hyping them up. I was like, God dang, they're actually pretty good. They got there. San Fran, they had their down season. They still have good players on their roster. And Shanahan, you know, he's one of the top tier coaches that we talk about. I expect them to be better, especially with their schedule being so cupcake. So they should be back in the mix. And so you got those teams. And I don't know what it is. The NFC West just has crazy vibes. Like, we get into that end of the season, some teams are knocking out other teams to get into that wild card or to freaking lead the division. NFC West could make some noise, man. It could make some noise. And if Seattle was in that mix, it honestly would not shock me in the slightest. It wouldn't, dude. You bring in a good quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, they had Drew Lock. Drew Lock is a good backup. He's not a starter. You know what I mean? This was like a freaking setback year for Seattle. Like, all right, let's see what we have. Let's draft. Let's pick up some free agents. Then we'll attack it. Maybe see if we can get a quarterback. Draft Jalen Milroe. But we see how it played out. And they have Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold, them getting second in the NFC West, I really don't think it's that crazy. I don't. Especially if their defense picks up. They could literally just do this, like I said, just ground and pound. play good defense. And then Sam on the back end will make plays when it's necessary. And I expect Mike Macdonald to freaking be coaching on another tier. You know what I mean? With these first-year head coaches, there's just so much going from a coordinator to a head coach. And now that he's a little bit more comfortable, he knows what he's doing, expect it to be a little bit more of an aggressive approach with Seattle. Won't shock me at all, man. Won't shock me at all. But I want their running backs to take a lead. Like, I really want them to lean into the run in Seattle with Charbonnet and freaking Kenneth Walker. Got two good running backs. Use them. Lean into it. Yeah, man. That's my thoughts on Seattle. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me. My guess with Seattle is they get like 9 to 11 wins. That's my guess with them. 9 to 11 wins, unless something catastrophic happens. But I honestly think that they're that good of a team. 9 to 10 wins. I'd be willing to bet that. They're gonna make some teams cry. No question. This is gonna be a much more aggressive team all around, offense and defense. That's my guess. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about Seattle. Do you think Seattle's going to be good this year? Do you think they're going to make some noise? What do you think about Sam Darnold? Do you think Sam Darnold's going to be like, you think he's going to be throwing for 30-plus touchdowns again? Wouldn't shock me. That's all I'm saying. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. But let me know what you guys think. Anyways, guys, it's your boy Shady Luke. Be sure to drop in, like, and subscribe to your boy. All we do is talk football here. Dope football content. Let me know what you want me to drop, play, or anything. We're getting this thing rolling, baby. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'm outie, and I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.
You good? Yeah, let's go.